I thought that it was the end of everybody in the Parliament chamber. It was something that I think should never happen again in Trinidad and Tobago.
That Friday night was a terrible night, as far as I recall, in that I got knocked around the place, knocked on my head and tied, hog-tied with tie straps behind my back. I was referred to as the IMF man. They hauled me over the bench and they dropped me on the floor. And when the guy asked if the string was tight enough, and I said yes, he gave it one more yank. And really tightened it. And I spent that whole Friday night with one guy having a gun on my back, almost stabbing me with a gun. And he said to me, if anything goes wrong, you're the first one to go.
Well, at first I thought it was an army takeover because most of the insurrectionists were dressed in army uniform. And they came running into the parliament.
It was done by a group of desperate men who were absolutely misdirected in terms of what they could do. I mean, how could they think that after all was done, after they had stormed the parliament and so on, even if they had got Mr. Dukaran to take on the role of Prime Minister, that they would be allowed to get away with that? It could not happen. It was really a harebrained scheme on their part.
I found out about the coup as it happened. I heard gunshots, at least I heard noises that I thought were those of a car backfiring. And then I realized it was gunshots. And when I looked to the right of me at the entrance, the general entrance to the parliament, I saw men approaching with guns and rifles.
On the evening of Friday, 27 July 1990, members of the Jamaat al-Muslimin stormed Trinidad and Tobago television and the Red House, the seat of parliament, during a failed coup attempt. Over the next harrowing 6 days, Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson, members of his cabinet, other parliamentarians, and persons inside the parliament were held hostage. This would turn out to be the gravest episode in the history of the nation's parliament.
That Friday night, anything could have happened. Because Bilal said to his men, if they storm the parliament, the first thing they will do is to turn off the lights. So if the lights go off, I want you to do what you have to do. We're going to shoot them, and then we're going to take care of, defend ourselves. And with that, he gave the instruction that we all should be put in the center of the chamber, which they did, laid us out on the floor, and his marksmen took up their positions about 3-4 feet from us with their guns in the ready position. And if those lights went off, it would have been a bloodbath in there.
And of course, you were made to lie on the floor. Always lying on the floor. You couldn't stand up because as the days went by, standing up would have been a danger to you because they were shooting from outside as well. So you had to lie on the floor 6 days. The toilet was a bucket behind the speaker's chair.
And what shocked is when they dragged this woman next to me and she was bleeding to death and watching me in my eyes, and I couldn't have helped her. My hands was on top of my head like this, and I just watching and shaking. And this woman staring me straight in my eye, watching blood pouring out her belly like a tap.
These men attacked a parliament in session. These men shot at and injured the Prime Minister. These men shot and injured the Minister of National Security. These men killed Leo Devines, a member of parliament sitting at the time. These men killed several other persons around the parliament. I sat and heard the groans, the last groans of Miss Carabayo, who died outside of on the premises of the Red House. I heard those groans and then I heard them no more.
Parliament, the heart of Trinidad and Tobago's democracy had been attacked.
They stormed the parliament. The parliament is our highest court, where we make our laws, where our legislators speak on behalf of all of us. These insurrectionists, when they desecrated it, had the legislators in a most embarrassing and humiliating positions.
And the significance of storming this parliament, our parliament on July 27, is one of total disrespect, right, to our democracy. And it was a total disrespect also to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
The parliament was invaded, or democracy was under attack. Parliamentarians were humiliated. They suffered. Some of them scarred for life. Some are scarred for life.
What was done was an attack on our democracy. It was saved, but we cannot accommodate that kind of behavior in this country.
On August 1st, 1990, an amnesty was signed with the Jamaat al-Muslimin that ended the coup attempt. The hostages were released from Trinidad and Tobago television and the Red House. However, the validity of an amnesty with the Prime Minister held hostage at gunpoint would always be questioned.
So I reported to the international media that this amnesty had been signed, and therefore the agreement was that they let Mr. Robinson and company out of the Red House, and they would be allowed to go free thereafter.
So I think we will fail by our judicial system in not bringing those people to justice, bringing them before the court and successfully trying them for the crimes they had committed. And it's not just the parliamentarians. Over 24 people died in the process. People were shot, people were killed, people were murdered. Buildings were vandalized. So there was a lot of property loss, a lot of lives lost, and nothing done.
The trauma of 27 July 1990 lives on. Many lives were lost, and Parliament, the seat of our democracy, was desecrated. As a nation, we must never forget this attack on our democracy.
I wish the succeeding governments and the country and as a whole would recognize that this was an important event in the life of the democracy of the country. They should mark it in a serious way, and we should, tell our children, write it down in the history books, what has happened and how we responded to it. It's the only way we can ensure that it probably wouldn't happen again.
We should have some place near the parliament or somewhere detailing all the people who died and suffered in that. And every anniversary date, they should be honored and respected.
It is since that event, it is my view, that the use of arms in the perpetration of serious crimes in Trinidad and Tobago has become more commonplace.
1990 should never happen again in Trinidad and Tobago. Our security intelligence, security gathering should be on top of the game. 1990 should be a learning experience for Trinidad and Tobago, and nobody should try to take the law into their own hand. We have a system how we vote for government, and that is every 5 years.
We need to talk about it, we need to write about it, and we need to have it embedded in the minds of the country that this was an awful situation which we survived, and we have to make sure that it does not happen again.